O'clock on the dot. And hi, Dheeraj.
Hi Bharat, hi everyone.
Good to see you. And hello, everybody. I hope both Dheeraj and myself are audible. Just give me a thumbs up or say yes. All right, super. Thanks, Vignesh. Thanks, Vivan. Hey, Dheeraj.
Yeah, hi Bharat.
Good to make your acquaintance. Really good to see you.
Same here.
But yeah, so where are you at right now?
Currently in my hometown, Ludhiana, Punjab.
Ludhiana. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I've been to Ludhiana many times, many times. I used to have clients there many years ago.
Okay.
You know, the textile business, right? It's very big in
Yeah.
Ludhiana. So I used to travel pretty frequently.
Wow, that's great. Usually I put up in Bangalore and I'll be there in Bangalore in next 10 days.
Okay. Okay. That's good. That's great. Yeah. So thanks, by the way, to Team Creator. Really, I mean, I got to say hats off to you guys for giving people like Dheeraj and myself, a platform like what you guys have. So I'm really grateful to that. Truly, truly, truly. I think the opportunities you get people like us is fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to more and greater interactions. So
I just,
Dheeraj, you're
just a
a
little
startup
experience.
from. Sorry.
I'm so sorry, there's a lag. Just a little experience. I also wanted to thank Team Creator. We were doing a public fundraise and 2 months back, and we did a live stream on Creator, and we had a live pitch here, and we got really some of the amazing responses and some of the amazing people who invested in us.
Therapy.
Yeah,
Therapy. Hey, Team Creator, if you're listening to this, make sure that you've got, one of the things I want to see in this as a feature would be, some sort of a conversation link or some sort of a, feedback link to some of the streams that we have out there. That'd be really cool. So I put my request out there. Now it's up to you guys if you feel you need to do it. All right, cool. So wanted to know from you, Dheeraj, are you familiar with coaching? Have you been through coaching?
not actually.
Okay.
There's
So,
some part of the coaching that we have been receiving from our mentors when we
ah,
started building working. So that part of coaching I know definitely.
okay. So there is that. I'm glad you brought that up because there are multiple fundamental differences between coaching and mentoring. Coaching is where is a significant way in which I enable you as a coach to find your solutions. Okay. Mentoring is a little more directive in the sense of, okay, hey, why don't you think about this, or have you thought about that? You should do this. You shouldn't do that. And my approach specifically is I do a blend of both, right? Because I truly believe that answers aren't found unless you find them.
Right.
Right? You need somebody as a sounding board to be able to reflect those questions off of. That we will have that you will have an opportunity for you to figure out your own path and what makes sense for you, because then you own it, right? Otherwise your mentor owns it and there's no stake.
Right.
And typically sessions are typically it's not just one coaching session. Typical sessions extend over, say, anywhere from 4 to 6 to 8 sessions, depending on the nature of the challenge. And this is an experiment. Okay, I don't think there is anybody out there doing live coaching,
Got it.
um, because it means making yourself vulnerable in front of an audience, and I making myself vulnerable in front of an audience. That's one. Second thing is that coaching is actually meant to be confidential,
Got it.
right? There are topics which are, within quotes, more confidential than others. I'm doing this here live because I think the nature of some of these conversations that we have would not just benefit you, but has the potential to benefit other people as well. Okay, so
Got it.
that's what I do. Um, I've been a coach now ever since I retired. I quit corporate life about a year ago now.
Okay.
And I've been coaching actively. I coach a whole range of people, from people starting their careers to people in mid to high levels. I coach CXOs as well. But my passion is really enabling and empowering people like you through coaching. Okay.
That'd be great.
So does that make sense? I mean, are we relatively clear about that? So be prepared to exercise your gray cells a little bit.
Sure. Sure.
All right.
I'm really excited for this.
Good, great.
Yeah.
So, given that, Dheeraj, one of the things I will be doing is I'll be making some notes as we talk, right? Um, so, why don't you tell me what it is you would like to talk about today?
Sure. So first of all, we are building wrky.ai. Wrky is a talent intelligence platform where we help CXOs to build and manage high performing teams.
Mm-hmm.
So
That
we
sounds
are basically touching up the growth, engagement, and performance in this sector. And performance is a sub segment where we have started working.
okay.
And currently in beta, we are working with some early users, early customers. And
Right.
currently, we are figuring out ways to, sales is something on which we are working.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of activities around it, building a strong brand presence and building a strong name in among customers. So this is something that we are currently working on.
So, what would you like to talk about today? Is there something on your mind?
Uh, I think I have to think about it. If it's something that you would want me to, you want me to uh, uh, tell you, then I think we can go ahead that way.
Typically, in coaching, the problem also comes from you.
Hmm. Okay.
So if there is a challenge, if there is a problem, if there's something that you would like to talk about, it could be professional, it could be your company related, startup related, business related, leadership related.
Hmm.
It could be anything out there. So I'm sure you got. I mean, you're a startup founder. You must be
Yes.
having.
No, there are a lot of problems that are, they're in every founder's mind.
Sure.
But what I was just thinking, which one is suitable to, discuss here. Okay, so let's discuss about this. One thing that we want to work upon is we want to set the brand narrative or the product narrative in such a way that people don't consider it as a simply the HR tech product. So the problem with the HR tech products is people consider it as a cost centric thing, right? So this is where मतलब उसी जगह इंटरेस्ट कम हो जाता है काफी
ठीक है.
स्टेक होल्डर्स का right
Okay.
even they know that they need this thing but it's not always on the top of top as a priority so when we have to give different use cases to different stakeholders but sometimes we succeed sometimes we don't
Okay.
how do we set out the brand presence in such a way that
Mm.
anybody who's hearing our name know that what we do and if there are three different stakeholders they perceive it in a different way. This is how I want to set the narrative for the brand.
Okay. 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 So I think that's a good thing to talk about. Are you okay with that?
Yes, definitely.
All right, good. So this will be a really nice business related, startup related challenge. That would be pretty cool. Dheeraj, your camera's off.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So want you to think about, because I heard you say quite a few things out here, right? One of the things that a couple of things that I heard you say is that you're working on brand presence, you're working on sales,
Hmm.
and you're trying to figure out a brand narrative,
Hmm.
because in terms of so positioning of your brand, and you want to differentiate it, or rather you want to say it's not HR, not this doesn't seem to be a priority to businesses. So there are a fair amount of not related statements.
Hmm. Okay.
So what is it you want?
Okay. So let me rephrase it this way: that definitely there are some of the products that companies using that are related to manage the people and the HR functions, and
Yep.
One of such brand, one of our competitor let us in the international market is really successful, right?
Okay.
And one of the brand is in India.
Hmm.
They don't say that, hey, we will help you to manage your employees.
Hmm.
They're one of the brand line which says scaling is hard, we make it easy,
Okay.
right? And when you, I mean, I have also spoken to their sales folks, and the kind of pitch that I received was really that is something that was according to me as a founder, right?
Okay.
This is something that I want to bring in my product, right?
Okay.
Even the brand positioning says that this, because people problem is the organizational problem, right? And everybody knows that, right?
Okay.
But when you, I mean, specifically tell them that, hey, this is the HR product, this will help you to manage your employees, then some things which start coming in their subconscious is that it will increase the cost, because every founder has a priority. Sales and revenue are the first priority, right? But if they manage their people well, right,
Hmm.
then they will be able to work on these two things in a good manner, right? This is something that we want to bring up.
Okay.
This
Okay.
ultimately we are helping you to grow your business, to grow your organization.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So describe to me, I mean, I've been through your website and I've seen what your product does, and I think I have a fairly good idea, at least right now, what you've got is pretty much around talent assessment, is what I see you guys are doing right now.
The assessment is actually one of the product that we built previously. That was one of a side project that me and my co-founder started. It is still running with some companies, but
Okay.
majorly we are focusing on the intelligence part, which is into the growth, engagement, and performance. Yes.
So let me ask you a question then, right?
Hmm.
If I had to ask you in, say, 5 sentences
Hmm.
to describe what your product would do for me,
Hmm.
what would you say? How would you describe it?
So usually I'll tell you that it will help you to understand the let's say areas of strength and development of your people, where your people stand. In case you want to increase your revenues, you need to understand where your sales team stand. Right. This is one of the analysis our product will help you to do on a quantitative and in a qualitative form.
Okay. So quantitatively and qualitatively. All right.
You want to increase your customer NPS. We will help you to understand the areas of strength and development of your customer facing teams. You want to increase the revenues, will help you to understand.
You're telling me use cases. I'm asking you to describe your product.
Okay. Uh, One subsegment that we have started working on is the performance management, and within the performance management is the feedback tool that we have first brought up.
Pause. Slow down.
Sure.
Why is performance management important?
Performance is something which actually affects the organization day in and day out.
How does it do that?
We help them to understand what is the overall organizational performance. I mean, where their people stand, and if as a founder or as a leader, I want to grow my organization, I need to understand where I currently stand and how will I reach to the point, which is my
So
aspiration, which is my goal.
why is it important for me to look at it from that perspective?
Okay. This is something that we are searching for.
Think about it.
Yes.
You came up with the idea, right? So you came up with an idea based on some thoughts that you had,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So what is the go back to? I'm asking you to go back a little bit to into the basics,
Hmm.
right? To understand what is your foundation on which you decided to build a product,
Okay.
right? Obviously, you saw something
Yes.
in the marketplace. I'm assuming here that you've done all your research and
Yes.
blah 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 and all the rest of that to figure this out, right?
Yes.
So what was the problem you saw?
Sure. So I'll say this came from the multiple experiences, not some single point.
Sure.
While I was working in my previous startup, or while I was working in my previous job where I was managing the investments, and was also working with some portfolio startups at Series A and beyond that, how they were struggling with the talent challenges. It was not only about attracting talent, but was also about retaining the talent, right set of people with them, and how if it affected them if they were not able to manage it really well. So
Why is retention important?
obviously when you bring people in, uh, they understand the nerve of your organization, or the nerve of the people that are driving the organization, right? And over the time that bonding comes, and you are able to understand each other and drive the results accordingly, right?
So
And
does your product reduce or increase retention?
so when we are able to understand how our people, what are the strengths and development areas of our people, right? We would definitely want to work on those areas, right? So we can bring up the desired results or the output that we want. And I believe among many reasons, compensation, growth, and cultural reasons are the main reasons for which people leave or jump onto another organization, right? I'm not talking here about the compensation part,
Mhm.
but when I'm able to provide a right set of growth to my people, that I'll only be able to do once I understand where they stand, right? How
Okay,
I, yes.
got it. Now, if I listen to you and having listening to you very carefully, one of the things that you, or two themes that I've heard from you consistently. One is you're talking about talent, you're talking about growth,
Hmm.
you're talking about strengths and development of people, and you're talking about retention.
Right.
Out of these words, right? So again, I'm going to repeat that to you. You're talking about people growth,
Hmm.
talent growth. You're talking about strengths and developments of people. You're talking about retention,
Yes.
and you're talking about yeah. Let's just take these three. Out of these three phrases, which is the one that resonates with you the most? So, people growth, talent retention, strengths and developments of people. Out of these three, which is the word that really pops out to you?
Sure. So first is the areas of strength and development with which I would want to connect first.
Okay.
Yes.
And what would be the second?
Second would be the retention.
Okay. And obviously the last would be,
Growth. That would be both the individual growth and the organizational growth.
can you help me understand why you picked it that way?
While we spoke to the relevant stakeholders who are involved in this whole function, there were some things which were hidden, or some blind spots were there which were still there and people are not able to recognize. While we worked on that, we realized that if we don't understand where our people stand, what
Mhm.
actions we need to take, right?
Mhm.
I think if we don't know that, we will always be into a wrong direction, right? We need to understand that where they stand, right, and how we can help them.
Okay. Okay.
If we don't know this, then this is where the problem starts to happen.
Okay. When you're going to tell us, when you're going to tell a story to a customer,
Hmm.
prospective customer,
Hmm.
what do you start with?
Okay. Uh, I mean the whole conversation, or when I only start talking about myself.
About your product.
Okay. So we touch the high level points there. That hey, we will help you to build high performing teams, right? In a
Mm.
personal conversation that I brought up.
Sure, that's good enough.
Yes.
Fine.
Yes.
How does that phrase make you feel?
Currently it's more of something which we are trying. I mean, multiple phases with multiple customers. We are also defining our pitch.
Sure. So we're talking about branding again. Bringing it back to branding, right?
Sure.
What would you like for people to remember you for, your product for?
So I mean, as I mean, when we started this journey, we wanted to help companies to retain the talent, build like I said, the high performing talent, and grow people within the organizations, and organizations grow accordingly. So this was the narrative that was set out by, that was within us, right?
So
A hypothesis was made surrounding these phrases. So as we moved ahead, this is something that we keep in our mind, is that we help want to help organizations to grow, right? Anything retention and all, everything that will come. So sorry, there's a lot of dogs out there.
that's okay. That's
Yeah,
okay. That's
yeah.
fine.
Anything that comes later, under this will be a part of it, and those are the activities we have to perform in order to achieve this high level, goal that we have.
So again, I'm hearing. So you said high performing teams.
Yes.
You said high growth of companies of the organization.
Yes.
As a customer,
Hmm.
as a prospective customer, what problem is the customer trying to solve?
So basically, for the growing teams, especially in the hyper growth stage startups, I mean,
Hmm.
huge funding is there. The teams are growing, right? And obviously, everybody wants to bring in right set of people, because this is not something that will, that will only affect the revenues or the numbers, but overall define the existence of the organization, right? Wrong
Hmm.
people will definitely lead you to death. 6 months later, 1 year later, right? And we have seen these examples with a lot of organizations, especially in
Okay.
startups. Larger organizations, you get to see results 10 years later, 5 year later, but in startups, that is a sudden death.
So are you positioning your product for startups alone, or is that part of your strategy to develop from startups and then go to other corporates, or what is your,
Sure.
what is, what is,
When we started researching, we started the R&D with 200 plus people companies, right?
okay.
And during that process, we came across the organizations of the startups, which are at 50 to 60 people companies, and founders were actually thinking about, developing a culture of growth and development, and even the
Hmm.
talking about the performance and engagement from day one,
Right.
right? when when they are actually coming out as a larger organization, not as some startup which is bootstrapped, or which is still thinking about the product, or still thinking about how to go put in the market. And this is something which is usually starts with the when you hit 50, 60 number, you are already a mature organization, right? This is from where you want to grow, and that race has really turned aggressive. Everybody wants to be unicorn in like 2 days, 2 years, 3 years, less than that, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are saying that you're trying to solve a problem right now, primarily for startups. That's what I'm
Yes.
hearing you say. Am I
Yes. High growth
correct?
startups. Yeah.
Right? High growth startups. So you're looking for high growth startups. You're saying that high growth startups and founders are telling you that, hey, right from day one, I got to figure out performance, I got to figure out retention, I got to figure out even talent, just acquisition of talent, and to create a culture of a certain kind for employees, right?
Right.
Is that in line with what you were thinking?
So I think for us, when we invest to the investors, and when we sorry, pitch to the investors and we pitch to the customers, the
Right.
obviously the pitch is a bit different. Here I'm giving more of an explanation. I might be wrong giving too many words, throwing too many words,
That's okay.
but I want to explain as much as I can in a short period of time, right? That
I get your problem statement. Okay, now I'm going to turn off my coaching hat. I'm going to put on the business hat right now, and I'm going to
Sure.
tell you right off the bat that
Sure.
you've got you hit the problem right on the head. This is a problem. It's not just a problem for startups. This is a problem across the world, across corporations, right? And in the tech sector, obviously, it's way, way more, right? So in the tech sector and in the segment that you are going after, which is essentially primarily high growth startups, right? This is something they're going to need for their own survival,
Right.
right? Now, if you're going to build a product if you're going to build a brand, if you want to build a brand that's going to be known for something, what do you want it to be known for?
I mean, when people talk about these things and how they want their employees to be best, right, and where they want to measure how they are performing, and how they should actually perform, right, they
Okay.
should talk about us.
So again, it's coming back to performance and performance management,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So what do you mean by, but when you go to performance management, different companies have different approaches, right,
Right.
towards performance management. So how is your product going to be something that addresses all of those?
Sure. So we are actually helping companies to identify the performance of its people on quantitative and on qualitative with the qualitative approach.
Give
And
me some examples. Describe to me, or give me some
sure,
examples of how you mean
sure,
quantitative and how you mean qualitative.
sure. In quantitative, they usually track the goals, goal settings, and how the results have been there. And
Hmm.
this is how you understand the performance of a particular person in the last quarter or a month, or maybe a weekly performance. And in quantitative, you basically analyze their behavior, what an ideal behavior should be, and how this person has been in the organization. That
Okay.
can you want to match up with the values of the organization or with the certain competencies that you set out.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So for competencies, there are certain frameworks that some people use.
Hmm.
Those frameworks were defined by the some consultants and all.
Sure.
We have this competency library
Hmm.
where without the need of any consultant or outside party, any HR can build up their own set of competencies using our library.
Okay. 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 Cool. So, what is the single biggest, just one solid attribute that your product is going to get for a customer that nobody else has got?
Actually, uh, Bharat, this is something which we all want to hear in a startup when we talk about a startup, right?
Okay.
But I believe in a B2B SaaS startup, you start with something which is common in the market, right?
Okay.
And over a period of time, you build your own niche.
Okay.
This isn't with a lot of products, no
Fair
matter
enough.
whatever is the packaging on the top, but underlying, the base is same.
I'm not talking about packaging. I'm not talking about strategy. I'm talking about you guys and your product and what is
Yeah,
it that one thing that
sure.
you think makes you excel?
Sure. So basically, usability experience is somewhat where we played, and we really tell people that hey, in terms of UX, we are the best. Why? Because when we saw the other products in our industry, we were able to realize one thing: these are mostly the sales-driven products, right? Nobody takes care about the experience of the relevant stakeholder or the user who is going to be there on the product, right? And you call it shitty in terms of design and other experiences, but that was actually there, and this is something we worked upon.
Okay. So
and in and in
sorry,
terms
go
of
on. Please go
features,
on.
sorry,
I said, please go on.
yeah. In terms of features, this competency builder and managing competencies on a lifetime, sorry, on a real time basis is
Mhm.
somewhat we are helping companies with.
Competencies on a real-time basis. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I can see, Dheeraj, that you've got 200 things going through your head right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you're passionate about your product, as you should be.
Yes.
You're passionate about your idea, as you should be. You're passionate about all the use cases that you're solving and that you're going after, and so on.
Right.
And all of those are the right things, right? They're all the right things. But yet, here we are talking about how do I figure this out? What I'm trying to get you to think about is how do you filter out a lot of that noise? And I'm going to call it noise because right now, your focus, right now in our session, your focus is trying to figure out what your brand is going to be, what your potential tagline is going to be associated with your product
Right.
that is memorable, that is recallable, and that you would stand by and stand for,
Right.
right? I think that's what you're asking for, right?
Absolutely.
All right, great. So that's why I'm trying to, through my questions, I'm trying to get you to filter out a lot of the noise around it to get to the essence of what your product is. And what I heard you in the early part of the conversation when we just started was it's not HR, it doesn't seem to be a business priority. But then I heard you say the positive or the non negative statements, which are strengths and development of people, talent, retention, and talent growth. So, something around these three areas seems to resonate with you. So, how do you string that together to craft your story around it? All right. Strengths and development of people, retention, and talent growth. What's the single biggest problem that companies face, startups face?
Correct. Retention.
Is it growth,
Retention.
retention, or is it strengths and development of people? What is the
Retention.
number one problem for startups?
Hello. Yeah. Am I audible, Bharat?
Yeah, you're audible. I can hear you just fine.
Okay. It's the retention.
Why do you say that?
My research data suggests me that.
So you're saying then that business growth, growth of the business to the company is not important. Is not as important as retention.
This is followed by the retention problem.
Ah, okay. So growth is probably the number one problem for startups, right? How do I grow?
See, it all boils down to bringing right people and having them stay with yourself, right?
You're jumping to the solution to solve what problem? The solution is getting the right people.
Hmm.
What is the problem that you're trying to solve by getting the right people?
Hmm.
I'm asking you.
That is where you have brought up right people into the company, right? Whether their goals are aligning with the company goals, whether they are heading in the right direction, right?
I'm going to ask you the question differently. You're solving a problem. I'm trying to get you to ask the question.
Hmm.
You're solving the problem by, I'm a startup founder.
Hmm.
I'm solving a problem by hiring the right people, by bringing on board the right people.
Right.
What problem am I solving by hiring the right people?
Uh, that will, I'll say that will help me to grow in a right direction.
So the root problem is growth, isn't it?
Yes.
Right? Because unless you're able to figure out where you want to grow, how you want to grow, then you can figure out your retention or your talent acquisition or your retention strategy. Right? I mean, you're building a product. Do you start off by saying, I've got the product and now I'm going to fill up with the people? Or do you say, hey, I'm going to get the people to be able to figure out how to build the product? I'm only getting you to rethink how you think about a problem.
Okay.
You're thinking solutions which is perfect for coming up with, for developing and building the product. If you go back to the root cause, which is what is the problem you're trying to solve? And the problem you're trying to solve for your clients is what? You're trying to help them solve the growth problem, isn't it?
Yes. Right.
And growth is directly correlated to talent.
Right.
If you get the right people, you get the right marketing guy, you get the right product engineering guy, you get the right operations guy or lady, you've solved the problem of running your company.
Hmm.
So the problem is running your company and growing your company.
Hmm.
And you got it down in terms of product engineering. You got it down in terms of product engineering, marketing, and operations. So you don't start with this and then say, okay, I'm going to solve that problem, right? Think of the problem, which is growth, and say, if I need to manage growth, I need marketing, I need operations, I need engineering. So, what would excite an organization more? The fact that you're talking about talent management, or the fact that you're talking about how you can contribute to their
Growth. Right.
So now, how would you, if I were to now that we've got there,
Yeah, I think talking about growth will make more sense. See, I mean, as a founder, when you go in the market and speak to people, you definitely go with the problem that you first create a hypothesis for, and then you want to validate it. You learn a lot of things. It starts revolving in your mind.
right?
And with the time, you need a clarity of thought.
Exactly. Very true. Very true. That's probably why you and I are talking, my friend.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, coming back to this, right? So now we've agreed, or we've come to you've come to the conclusion that growth is the problem,
Hmm.
and now you're saying, hey, I've got something that can solve this, or help you manage this problem, or help you solve this problem of growth. So your correlation is what? So you've tested the hypothesis that said talent management is a problem. But there is a precursor to that hypothesis, which is growth.
Right.
So growth is directly correlated to.
Talent.
So if growth is directly correlated to talent, what's the way you can pitch this to a client or a prospective customer?
Or it will help you with the organizational growth.
Not help you. You want to grow,
Yes.
you need to manage talent. You want to manage talent, you got working.
As simple as that. Just do it.
So
Right.
this is, see, the point here, Dheeraj, is that, this is why the decluttering is so important. And it helps to have somebody to talk to about it, right? Because, see, what happens now is you and your colleagues and your buddies, you're all probably going through a little bit of groupthink. Everybody is dealing with the same sorts of problems.
Hmm.
So somewhere, somebody in your group needs to be able to be objective enough to be able to step back now and then and say, okay, what are we doing here, guys? What are we really trying to sell? We're not selling talent management, we're selling growth.
Right.
कुछ समझ में आया अभी मतलब does it make sense? I'm not trying to force you into it,
No,
but
no, Bharat, actually, right. See, we see the brands like Nike and all. It
yep,
seems really simple to us from the outside. That just
yeah,
do it, that swoosh logo is really that something excites us. Or some
right,
brand we are not even excited for, but we just love their presence,
right.
right? I mean, leave that part that it took them 20 years, 10 years to build that. How they
Correct.
come up to that clarity is something that
Ah,
everybody thinks from day one.
yes.
And
And
as
how do
well,
you?
you are about, want to achieve that and achieve it actually. This is where it solves all the problem for
So,
you.
so if you could build use cases
Hmm.
and white papers
Hmm.
around growth
Hmm.
with talent, how talent management contributes to growth
Hmm.
or is a key factor in growth, why wouldn't businesses listen to you?
Right.
I mean, Creator out here, they're all startups too. Ask them, dude, what do you want? You want growth? I can help you manage it
Right.
because we take care of the talent. So you don't have to.
I wanted to simplify the pitch actually, where I don't have to tell 100 things in order to convince them. Only 5 things are good enough.
ये लिख लो अभी, ये लिख लो.
I'm recording it.
Growth. All right. So now let's take it one step further.
Sure.
So if the focus is you are solving the problem for growth, what do you need to do different about your company?
Is this a question or is this a point?
Question.
Okay. It's just that narrative, like I said from the first point, I need to set it really simple so that people understand what problem I'm solving for them. Not by the features, but by the value that I'm bringing on the table. That should be clear on my, let's say, on the website or any email or reach out that we are doing, or any
So
content.
how are you going to, or what are you going to focus on now that we've decided that you're going to focus on growth challenges for companies through talent? What are you going to focus on your product?
So first, we will build up some use cases which will resonate with the value that we are saying that we will bring on the table.
Right. Cool. Cool. I'm happy for you, man. That's good. That's good. All right. So going from here, right? Going from here after the session, what are some of the maybe 2 or 3 things? Because here's the challenge, right? One is, okay, now you've gotten the fact that, okay, I'm selling growth. And talent management is the enabler to be able to sell growth. So I'm going to sell business growth. How are you going to play that back and make sure that your company is focused on that, not on talent management alone? Talent management is the enabler to get you growth.
I think in the initial days, not in the initial days also, but we need to also focus on what output actually it is bringing for our customers. It's not about the selling only, it's also about working with them closely to understand whether it is actually bringing value on the table,
There you
right?
go. Right.
That's how we'll be able to understand that how it will continue to stay in the market and grow in the market.
And that's where if you know if you so the question now is going to be, out of all the feature list, I'm sure you guys have a massive feature list of things that you want to put into your product. So you're going to have to reprioritize. Because anything that takes away, here's the thing about brands and goal statements. You have to be ruthless about, and now I'm being a consultant, but you have to be ruthless about getting rid of all the faff and fluff and saying, does this get me closer to my goal or is it getting me away from my goal?
Got it.
I mean, Steve Jobs and Apple, why do people still talk about Steve Jobs and Apple? You, just like you said, why does everybody talk about Nike? You just think of Nike and you think, just do it. You think they're faffing and flapping around doing 20 different things, 200 different things?
No, I think it's the the factor that appeal around those brands that they have said. The founders themselves have said.
So you're the man in the hot seat now. So you're the founder, you're the CEO. Go out there, you got to do this, right? So
Right.
everything in your organization now that you're doing has to revolve around this theme. If you've got stuff built around that theme, which is resonating with your clients, because your clients will resonate with growth. Talent management, there are hundreds of products out there,
Right.
starting with the big guns, right? I mean, right from Oracle and SAP and this and that,
Absolutely.
everybody's got it. So if you're going to go head to head with that, That's a tough part. And
Right.
they're all going SaaS now. They're all going SaaS. In fact, they
Absolutely.
already are. Workday, PeopleSoft, or rather, these guys, HCM, any
Right.
of these guys, right? They're all SaaS.
Right.
So it's a pay-as-you-go model. So you're not in any. You are going to have to focus on a huge amount of differentiation in terms of the problem you are solving
Right.
for businesses. And
Right.
the problem you're solving is growth. So that should be your mantra now. Everything going through your head, anything that you do, anything that you're going to brand, your tagline, all of that has to be.
Got it.
See, I'm not an advertising guy, but this is a great opportunity for you to sit down with your team and brainstorm how you want to have a tagline that defines Worky.
See, this was not only about the advertisement.
And the brand line.
I mean that can be anything when you are not in the room. How people talk about your brand. Don't say that ये feedback में help करवाता है, ये performance track करते हैं. No, that not that way, right? Hmm.
So one of the things you guys are going to have to do is definitely a brainstorming exercise, probably a facilitated exercise. There's lots of guys out there doing design thinking.
Right.
It's a great opportunity for you to get in touch with somebody who can probably conduct a design thinking workshop for you guys.
Sure.
That could be something, that could be another approach. Or you could hire, a person to come in and facilitate a workshop where you're going through a whole bunch of creative ideas
Sure.
around this. Maybe just your core leadership team. You guys go out, get yourselves a few drinks, and chill out. And I know, how in Ludhiana it's just great fun to go hang out and have a few drinks and change the world, man. Change the world.
Yes.
See, because I'll tell you, here are some things that I would tell you are real problems. And I've run companies and I've done all of this stuff in my past, and I can tell you point blank that talent management is a huge problem. But why is talent management important to me as a leader? Because I know that if I don't have my talent, I'm not going to be able to deliver that fantastic next generation product or grow my sales or expand my customer base. I'm not going to do any of those things.
Absolutely.
So think about one of the things I want you to think about. We've got about 12 minutes left. One of the things you need to think about is when you're talking growth,
Hmm.
what are the metrics that you can impact for customers,
Hmm.
for your customer,
Got it. Got it.
right? Which is aligned with growth. So saying that, hey, because of my product, your attrition rate dropped from 22%
Hmm.
to, I don't know, even 4 points, went down to 14, 18%. Is your product, are you going to be able to provide that metric that says that with Worky, because you had Worky,
Hmm.
you were able to reduce your attrition by that much?
Got it.
Did your productivity increase because Worky assessments pointed out exactly where your hot buttons were that your employees were failing or they were not performing?
Right.
Yeah. Cool.
Yes. Absolutely.
So what's your big takeaway from this session?
Takeaways, I think, come up with the pointers which really defines what we are telling people, which really brings up on the surface that, hey, this is the proof that what we are trying to do for you.
Again, you're going to solution. I'm asking you what is the core principle that gets you to that solution?
It's that if you want to grow your company, you need to grow your talent. And this is where we'll come. And for
Yes.
that, we need to bring a proof on the table.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Go back to fundamental principles always. Always. Fundamental principles. It's as true of business plans as it is true of life.
Sure.
In your life, if you're going to jump into solutions, chances are you're not solving the problem. You can put the patchwork out there. I have a argument with my wife. If I'm going to think about the argument rather than trying to figure out what the root of the problem was, what's going to happen? That argument's going to go on for probably next time the same argument's going to come up.
Right.
Employee's got a problem, you try to solve the problem, but guess what? That problem is going to crop up some other time with somebody else.
Correct.
So are you solving the problem? No, you're providing a solution, but you've not solved the problem. So going back to root cause, here's another great tool, by the way, that you want to use. It's called the Ishikawa or the fishbone. Have you heard of the fishbone?
Yes. Anonymously, where employees give feedback about the company.
No. Fishbone is an analytical tool.
Hmm.
The fishbone diagram, go research it, Google it, look it up. It's a very simple tool. Imagine a typical fish which has bones, right?
Okay.
A single backbone, and it's got this. So map your problem. What is the problem you're trying to solve? You're trying to solve growth. So by solving growth, what are the dependent factors? Talent management will be one of them.
Correct.
Performance will be another one of them. Retention will be another one of them.
Not aware of this framework. I thought you were asking about.
Look at the fishbone framework.
Got it.
It's created by this guy back in the 20th century by a guy called Kaoru Ishikawa. So it's called the Ishikawa diagram.
Yeah.
Or
Ishikawa.
the fishbone diagram. Okay, cool. So you ready to take some questions, my friend?
Yeah.
All right. We're open for questions, everybody.
I think that might be for you, Bharat, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So Meena asked the question. Hi, Bharat. I noticed the way you're asking questions might help uncover something underlying. I'm interested in applying this type of thinking more just day to day as well. Could you share some tips on how we could introspect as well? Meena, great question. Again, just like what I was asking Dheeraj, asking yourself, I think, at any point in time when you arrive at a problem, and this is typically done or better done when you're in conversation with somebody and in conversation with somebody objective. Okay. So typically, for example, if you have a problem today, if any one of us has a problem, who do we go to? We typically go to our friends or our family or somebody really close to us. The challenge is this, that when we go to somebody close to us, they're not objective enough to look at it. So they give you advice, well-meaning advice. Everybody is well-intentioned. They all want good things for you. But for yourself, if you want to do it, is go back, trace it backwards, go back to root cause. Why? Keep going through that why cycle. And at some point, you'll see that there are no more whys. Chances are that that's the nugget. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Okay. Rahul, Dheeraj, could you share a little about your journey? Would love to hear any anecdotes or stories about wrky.
Like I said, Rahul, this came from multiple experiences while building my previous startup and while working with the portfolio startups during my job tenure at my angel investment firm where I was managing the investments and also working with the portfolio startups. So while working with them, that's where we realized money problem is not there. There's abundance of the funds, but still people are leaving and bringing in right people and not knowing what to do with them. Even if you know what to do with them, why they are not staying? Where's the problem? So these were some of the things which really, pinched us to, go ahead in the market and start thinking about which segment of it we want to work upon, right? This not always comes up key you are sitting and you something comes up to your mind and okay, I'll start working on this. You need to work at least 6 months, 1 year. You need to understand that this is a problem that you want to solve, whether you are going in the right direction or not. Though we were sometimes in a wrong direction, and then there was a pivot was there. Before that, we were helping companies with the recruitment part, but that's where we realized the solution that we are bringing in, that we were fighting more on the pricing model rather than the value of the product. That's where we pivoted. And while working with the 130 companies at that point of time, we understood that these were some of the insights that we could get. That is not only at a one point of a journey of an employee, but also goes across the life cycle of an employee in an organization. This is what led us to building Worky. Yes, but still we are learning a lot from our customers or the people that we speak to.
But I just want to add. I just wanted to add, Dheeraj, that I'm very curious about the fact that you've taken this. First and foremost, I got to tell you, I'm a huge, huge admirer of startups. Huge admirer of guys like you who are stepping out, doing this stuff, because that sense of belief you got to have in yourself. I really want to ask you, what is the source of your strength to keep going?
That's something that you want to solve. That really problem that you want to solve. And when you pick something that you want to make something out of it, that is something that kept me going.
Awesome. Okay. Vignesh has a very terrific question, I think. It's not so relevant to what was spoken today, but just curious, how do you all decide what features to build out next and iterate your product? I guess you must be using your product as well.
Vignesh, when we started reaching out to the people, relevant stakeholders in this industry, we were focusing only on a single point, right? That's why we started building the first version of the product. And very early with that, we realized that there are other approaches to solve, right? And now that problem that I was discussing with Bharat, it is not that people are not adopting my product. That was how to make it, adopted largely, right? Because एक point के बाद my product will be in the hands of salespeople, or my product need to come at a point it needs to run on itself, right? Nobody from the sales team of products like Notion and all comes up and tell you this is what it does. So I want to take my product to that level where people themselves understand this is the problem that it will solve for them, and they come and try it out, right? Obviously sales will be there, but we want to reduce the dependency of that, and that will start to happen when product will be in the hands of customers. And features and all, definitely you define a roadmap that this is what you want to build, but what you decide and what your customers tell are two different things.
So given that, how often do you go back to customers for feedback in terms of which features should go up on the list and come down off the list? How do you do that?
I think it's not always good to listen to each and every request of the customers, because everybody want that you also need to see whether that solution is going to be scalable, right? Earlier we were not speaking much with the customers, but ever since we pivoted, I mean every week, there are a lot of interactions that is that we have been doing, me and my co-founder, not only to the prospects or the customers, also to the relevant stakeholders in this industry. Hey, we are going in the right direction. This is what do you think about this? Where we might be doing wrong, and this is the inputs that we received.
Cool.
This is not a one-time journey. You decided something and you are good to go with it. The roadmaps change, things change. Companies like Zomato open something and 3 months later, 6 months later, they decide to close it, right? And if they've started first thought of building that, they must have decided a 5-year roadmap for it. Google closed something, every 6 months, right? They must have decided a future of it. But no, you actually go with the flow of the market, but you keep your preparation handy.
And go back to core values.
Yes.
What is the value proposition? Right. I think that's critical. Vignesh, if I were you, one of the things I would just say is, what is the intent that you started with, and is this aligned? If this is aligned, then take a look at it. So it's a pretty brutal set of questions and answers that you need to keep looking at yourself and the marketplace, I think. I've only worked in large corporates, so in large corporates, I can tell you this is how it's done. One of the ways in which features get decided, and what goes up the list, what comes below the list is, again, going back to the core principles of what that product is supposed to do. If that product is supposed to do X, then anything that goes towards X, making X stronger, that goes to the top of the list. Just some stuff for you guys to think about. All right. Any other questions or comments? Cool. Going once, going twice. Thank you, Rahul. Sold. All right. Dheeraj, thanks a lot. I really hope this was useful to you and you managed to get
Absolutely.
some insights in here.
Absolutely, Bharat. That was.
And let me know, you can reach me directly if you need to get any, if you need any further help in terms of coaching or anything at all for yourself, your team. That'd be great. Okay, Yuvraj has got one final question. We'll take this as the last one, guys. I think we're done. Can you also talk about how as a startup you did fundraising, what you learned from the process?
Okay. I think that is not a one. There is not one point related to it which defines that whether you're a startup. This is how that you will do the fundraise. There are multiple points that you need to do the check. That's how you are successful in doing the fundraise. I think we covered those points. Some things in the product might not be ready now, but the people who believed us, who became a part of our journey, we have been working with them closely, telling them that this is what we are building. These are the results that we have brought up from the initial conversation or the initial MVP that we brought in the market. I think once those results were on the table, that's how people actually believe to invest, right?
Joe.
Yeah.
Super. Hey, thanks a lot, Dheeraj. Thank you for, it's very brave of you to step out in front of an audience and in front of, a live stream. It's hard to do that. So kudos to you for your
Thank you.
bravery and your courage to step out. I really appreciate it. And I thank you for all the honesty, actually, because you've been very honest, very open about it. I really like that.
Thank you. Thank you for patiently listening to me, and thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.
Always, always. Folks, if any of you want to sign up or you know somebody who needs to sign up for these sessions, there is a sign up sheet. Please get in touch with Creator and they'd be happy to put you on a sign up for future sessions. Since I'm here, I'm also going to make a plug for Saturday Night Fever, which is a show I host every Saturday, Saturday evenings at 5 p.m. And that is only about conversations with people in business, in corporations, in startups. And we have conversations. There are previous episodes that you can go to on Creator or on my YouTube channel at Grow by Design. That's one word, Grow by Design. And you'll see back episodes, previous episodes of these sessions as well. So thanks a lot, everybody. Really appreciate it. And thanks to Creator and thanks to Dheeraj most of all for coming out there. Let's give him a big hand. Cool. See you all. Signing off.